So for this project, I picked up a glass hurricane shade, clear glass hurricane shade for $1.99 at Goodwill. And what I'm going to do is use my nipper tool, which you see right here with the red handles, and I'm going to use this to break up the glass. And instead of going straight down with the glass, I'm going to try to break it so that it's curved, just like this piece here. And these are going to be the branches of the Christmas tree. So when you're doing this, you need to be wearing safety glasses because the glass does fly, and you're best off using a deep container and breaking it down at the bottom of the container. I'm just doing it like this so that you guys can see how I'm breaking it and what it looks like as I'm breaking it. Normally I would put it in fast forward, but I want you guys to be able to see how I'm using the nipper tool and how I'm breaking up the glass. So what I'm looking for when I break it up is glass that'll stand up just like that on its own. And if you break it in this curved fashion, like I'm doing it right here, it will break on the curve and it will be able to stand up on its own. Keep in mind that sometimes the glass has a mind of its own and it doesn't turn out the way you want each piece, so there's no need to throw it out, though we can crack it up and use it for another project. So this tool that we call a nipper is a tool that I had originally purchased to break up stained glass. I do use stained glass in some of my projects, and sometimes it's used to break tiles, small tiles. You may see me at times using two hands to do the nipper tool, and it's only because I have some arthritis in my hands, so sometimes it's difficult for me, but you guys with your young hands won't have any problems. So I think you're getting the idea, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it for a minute so that we can move on to the next part. So in this portion, I'm just trying to determine whether I have enough pieces to assemble a whole Christmas tree. And I mess around with this for probably about 20 minutes, even though it looks like I'm doing it faster than that. I have this in fast motion here. Once I've determined that I have enough pieces, I start laying them out on the paper to get ready to spray paint them. So for this project, I'm using the Krylon Stained Glass Summer Green Spray Paint. And it's all of the Krylon stained glass spray paints are translucent, so they're beautiful for spraying onto glass, especially when you're doing these kind of projects and you can't find the color that you want for the glass. One of my first videos that I did, if you want to check it out, was on Krylon stained glass and sea glass spray paint. And I have cut all of the different ones and what it looks like when it's sprayed on glass. I actually did it on my tumbled glass. So with this, you have to give it multiple coats and let it dry for like 20 minutes in between. It should be done in a well-ventilated area, and you just have to be patient with it and then flip the glass over the other way after it's dried and give it multiple coats on the other side. So for this project and all projects that I'm using framed glass, I use the silicone caulk and run a bead around the perimeter of the inside of the frame there, and that serves two purposes. One, to hold the glass in place, and two, to prevent any resin leaks. After the caulk is dried for 24 hours, I take painter's tape and put it around the perimeter of the frame, and this is just an extra precaution against resin leaks. Next, I assemble the glass, and this actually took about a half an hour. I messed with it for a while, and I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up. I use a brooch for the star, and then I'm taking apart, looks like a gold necklace that I had picked up, both the star and the gold necklace from Goodwill or a garage sale. And I'm using the necklace to make the tree trunk. So next we're ready to prepare the resin. When I use resin, I wear gloves, I wear a respirator. It's in your best interest to wear a respirator and to do it in a well-ventilated area. The resin I'm using is Total Boat Resin. This was a resin that I first started using, and after I had finished the original bottle, then I went on to about 7 different resins, all which I thought were kind of similar until I started using the Total Boat Resin again, and I realized how thick it really was, and all the bubbles. Wow, it's a lot more bubbles than the other resins I was using, but they dissipate very easily with the heat gun, so I'm going to continue to use it for now, at least use up the bottle. Into the container together, they appear clear when you start stirring it. It becomes cloudy, and then after 2 to 3 minutes of stirring, it becomes clear again when you're ready to pour it. And oh my gosh, look at all of these bubbles. You should stir it very slowly. The slower you stir it, the less bubbles you have. And also scrape the sides and the bottom as you're doing it. I usually spoon the resin over the glass, and then after I feel like that's all covered, then I go around the perimeter. This is a very thick resin. I know all the resins say that they're self-leveling, but you have to push it into the corners and up along the sides, or else you're going to have some spots that you miss. And then I smooth it all out. And look at all the bubbles again. I can't believe it. It is just loaded with bubbles. So now, of course, I have to use the heat gun. My heat gun has 2 settings, low and high. I always put it on the low setting. And on the back is the temperature setting, and I'm going to put it up to 600 now. It has so many bubbles. I want to make sure I get rid of them all. And you want to keep it at the low setting and keep it away, not too close to the resin, because you can see how it's blowing the resin around. It can blow it up over the frame. It can move the glass. You really have to be careful. I'm really considering investing in a little torch instead of using the the heat gun because it blows the stuff around so much. I'm having to push the glass back in place and rearrange it. And honestly, that's not unusual to have to do after you use a heat gun. So anyway, I mess around with it for a few more minutes, and then I put the star and the tree trunk on, and then I had bought this container of kind of like a faux snow, and I sprinkle some of that at the bottom. I think if I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't use it. Then I use isopropyl alcohol to clean around the frame. It's good to remove any resin you get on your hands, in your hair, on your clothes, anywhere. Next, it needs to dry on a level surface at room temperatures between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Look, didn't it turn out cute? I can't believe it. I thought maybe it wasn't going to be green enough or, fill in enough, but the glass really looks so pretty. I hope you guys like it too. I think this is probably my favorite one. I've done a bunch of different Christmas trees, 4 green ones, and this is my favorite green one. And it didn't even start out as green grass. I mean, green glass. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.